If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast for a special edition of Horsin Around. Wow, do we have an announcement for you? I can't wait to tell you about it. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Hit the notification bell underneath the video player so that you know when new content will arise, and smash that like button. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. We've got great tip sheets below the video player. You can find out about that, and a great podcast as well, HHH Racing Podcast. You can follow me on X right there at H Kravets, and also email hkravetshorse, spelled just like that, hkravetshorse, one word, at gmail.com. Here's what we got for you in store for you on this short video announcement. Of course, everyone saw the thumbnail. Where is Howard and the podcast going on vacation or holiday, as they say overseas, in the summer of 2024? We're about to tell you. This is going to be a bucket list trip for yours truly. I cannot wait to tell you about it. And before I bring on my special guest, I want to thank you, the viewer, the listener, to help with this trip, because although most of the vacation is going to be on my own personal dime, certainly your help through purchasing our Power Picks tip sheet and watching the show, listening to the show, and purchasing merchandise through our store, which is going to be coming up soon in our next announcement. We couldn't do it without you guys, and we hope to bring you as much coverage as the internet and technology will allow on this wonderful journey. And I will have a compadre, a compatriot, a good friend that I'll be traveling with on this journey. He is no stranger to this show. Let's bring him on right now from Liverpool, England. Davey Lane. Davey, how you doing today? I should say this evening, as we're filming at 10 o'clock at night live in Liverpool.
How are you doing, Howard? You good?
I am doing great. Just got home from work. I'm really excited to talk about this trip. So, Davey, you and I have talked about this a little bit. You got the beret going.
Yeah.
Beret. Where do they wear berets? Yeah. I don't know. Well, I think most people know. So, Davey, in all seriousness, you and I have sort of talked about this kind of trip a little bit in the last, really since I met you. For the record, I am not exactly a world traveler. You've done more traveling than I have. In fact, the only place I've really been overseas was Israel, actually, when I was 13 years old. Did make a quick stop in the Amsterdam airport. But basically, the only place I've been overseas is Israel. And actually, as I speak right now, I'll have to get it out for you. I have a little surprise that I want to show you if I can get out of my drawer. I should have had it prepared. But you've done a little more traveling. Tell everyone very quickly where you've been generally in the world, and more specifically, where you've actually seen some horse racing outside of the UK.
Okay. I haven't been that many places in the world. North America, Canada, United States, Mexico, South America, Uruguay, Argentina, little Paraguay, a stop off in Chile, Southern Africa, Mozambique, Southern Africa, not Central or West Africa or North Africa, the Middle East, Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, Gulf states.
Sounds like a lot to me. Without horse racing, Dave.
Bahrain, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar. I've never been to Dubai. Only the airport. Muscat, Oman, and then Japan. I've been to, and Australia.
Wow.
So racing in those countries. Australia, I went to Rose Hill for the world's most expensive, for the world's richest 2-year-old race, the Golden Slipper. I was there for that at Rose Hill. I've been racing in Qatar and Beirut. There would have been Arabian races. France and Ireland, Germany. Those are the racing places I've been outside the UK. I'm not a major race goer. I mean, mostly in the UK. I will get to Northern English tracks. My favourite would be York, which is a bit of a trip. But then the Liverpool-based area tracks.
Sure.
Never been really to a southern track in the UK. Because the UK is a small country, but it's big enough, and you know, you have your little regions, right? You know.
Well, obviously, when we travel together, Davey, I'll be uh, leaning towards you for all the interesting places to go and how to navigate airports and all
Yeah.
that. All the transportation issues you've seen a lot. You're
Well,
gonna be.
well, yeah. I think, as I pointed out to you a few weeks ago, there are very subtle things to do with getting around airports and international travel, and it's just like a jockey getting out of the gate with a horse. Literally, you can save, you know, 4 to 5 minutes on an airport can make a hell of a difference with it, with screwing up a trip or making a trip successful. And that's a lot about getting out of the plane in time. Is it that one moment you decide to let the little old lady in front of you on the gangway or not? Like this kind of thing.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Davey, all right, everyone's waiting. Let's just get right to it.
Okay.
You and I talked about this trip for a long time. It's going to happen. It's God willing, all that good, whatever.
Yeah.
It is going to happen. Davey, we're gonna tell everyone what countries we're going to, what tracks we're going to, and we're gonna leave it at that. Obviously, we don't want to get too specific, but
Well,
Davey on
we looked at
early June. So June.
we looked at the summer, right, Howard. You looked at the summer, and we had a sort of a sense. We laid out every track across Europe where they were going, and we put a plausible trajectory of what you could do that would be interesting, that would get you the most bang for your buck. And
Absolutely.
I think we did okay.
I think we did great. We are. I'm leaving June 7th from Chicago, where I live. I'll be flying into Madrid on Saturday, June 8th. Madrid, Spain. And Davey, what are we doing? We're going to be there for that evening in Madrid, and then what are we doing on Sunday, June 9th, sir?
Well, Sunday, June 9th, we'll be attending the Spanish Derby at La
Yes.
Cizuela Racecourse, the Hippodromo La Cizuela. And
Beautiful.
yeah, and that's where we'll be. We'll be close by. We'll be walking to the track, and it'll be fantastic. And just to know, I mean, as you say about what people Division 1, Division 2 tracks. I mean, I don't know anyone, very few people in the UK racing community fraternity that would go racing in Spain. I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's rare thing. People just don't think of it. It's considered second or third division racing, but there are if you see some videos of it or pictures of it, you get a sense of it. It's really good racing. It's fascinating racing. It's a great day out, and it's a place you can make money, which is what racing is. It's a fantastic day out and a place where you can put your mind to work and walk out of the track richer than when you went in. Isn't that the point, right?
That is the point. And before I'm going to show a video here, please, Davey, this is important. Let's get comments below the video player. If any of you been to any of these tracks or these countries, these cities, if you have suggestions for Davey and I, some great restaurants or just any tidbits you want to share, we'd love to hear below the video player a whole ton of comments about these places that we are going. So Davey, we're going to show about 2.5-minute video of the Hippodromo de la Zarzuela. This is where the Spanish Derby is located. People get a sense of what we're going to experience on Sunday, June 9th. Let me bring it up on the screen. Bear with us, everyone. This is about a 2.5-minute video of the Madrid Spanish Derby. There we go, Davey.
Good.
Hippodromo de la Zarzuela. And the wonderful thing about horse racing, it's that worldwide appeal, right? Everyone loves going the track. And Davey, before we move on, I received something in the mail this past Friday. And as I like to say sometimes, the shit just got real, baby. There it is.
There you go.
Howard got his passport, so it's definitely happening, Davey. There you go. I've not had a passport actually since I was a little kid, so I'm all ready to go, Davey, officially.
Official.
There you go. All right. So so that's gonna be a lot of fun. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Now, that's just the beginning of this trip. I mean, it's crazy. After that, we're going to be going staying a few days in Chez Davy in France, correct?
Right. I'm going to take Howard to southwest France and then introduce him to a little bit of the foundations of the horse, the history of the horse. And by that, a little bit of time to relax, drink some red wine, and a couple of places for him to see, some chateaus and so on. But some of the original paintings of horses and carvings of horses from our species from like 40,000 years ago, 30, 20,000 years ago, various places. So the Peshmel caves and so on, Pomme de Gour up in Dordogne, and then to the French National Stud at Pompadour. We won't go racing at Pompadour because it doesn't. I think it's every Sunday in July and August, so we're a week or two ahead of that. But there's a chateau there, and that's the home of the French National Stud. So there will be horses there. I think it's French presidential horses and so on, but there might be a racehorse or two mixed in. I'm not quite sure. Most of the breeding of the racehorses in France, the big studs are up in Normandy, training areas more like Chantilly and so on. But there are great big tours and very, very interesting. So a chance to just have a holiday experience and have a horse sort of, a horse sort of angle to a bit of quiet time, downtime, and prepare ourselves for the next big meeting, which will be, as you want to make the introduction.
Absolutely. So then we'll be making our way to Paris, en route to Chantilly for the French Oaks, the Prix Diane on Sunday, June 16th, Davey. Another fantastic track and a huge day of racing in France.
Correct. I mean, it's. I mean, most people will just talk around the world will know French racing for the Arc and maybe the Prix du Jockey Club, which is also at Chantilly, but the Oaks is a fantastic. It's a fantastic day. I mean, it's almost like a ladies' day as well, and it's one of those things where it's really peak summer. It's the perfect time. I mean, the longest day of the year is what, June 20th. It's bang. It's perfect. It's perfect timing for racing. It's perfect timing.
Davey, it's interesting you say that sort of a ladies' day. That's really the main reason I'm going. I'm trying to find my future wife at the French Oaks. What do you think? Do I have a shot?
I think, Howard, you might pick a Spanish wife. You might get a Spanish one and then a French one. I mean, you could go back. You could go back to Chicago with like 3 of them, man.
Don't get me in trouble, Davey. Don't get me in trouble now. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick look at the Prix Diane and all the festivities around a fantastic race course in France, and that would be Chantilly. Let me go ahead and bring up that. This is only about a 1-minute video. Let me go ahead and bring that up on the screen right now for a quick look at the Prix Diane. Wow, Davey. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm getting chills right now. I got to tell you, I've watched, that's like the third time I watched that video.
Yeah.
I'm still getting chills. I mean, that's just going to
That
be
was Blue Rose
amazing.
Sen, I think. That was Blue Rose Sen winning last year, I believe.
Yes, it sure
Right.
was.
The horse you were hoping to bet in the Breeders' Cup, but it didn't make
Yeah.
the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that's Chateau Central there. I mean, and there's some great experiences also, not just with the racecourse, but around the chateau, all to do with horses and the stabling of the horses and so on. So it's a full experience when you're there.
for sure.
And it'll be my first time there. I mean, this is, I've been to Longchamp many times, but never Chantilly. So this is good for me.
Davey, that's already about 7-8 days of this trip, and that would be absolutely enough for me, and I'm sure for you as well.
Yeah.
But you and I talked, and we're like, nah, we got to end this vacation, this holiday, with a bang, and I cannot think of any better place to end our vacation as we will be traveling to London, and just outside of London, Davey, there it is, Royal Ascot. Davey Lane and Howard Kravets will be at Royal Ascot for the first 2 days of the meeting at minimum, Davey. This is a bucket list trip for anyone that loves horse racing. I am so excited to go to Ascot.
Yeah, likewise. It'll be my first time at the track, so I need to get inside information and tips from people as well, how it all works and what have you. Exactly what enclosure we're going in, I don't know. I'm working on contacts to try and pull off something and so on. So it's plausible that you'll be in your top hat and tails. So, but we'll see. If not, we'll be well dressed. The English have a very strict dress policy. I think the French and Spanish are much more stylish, chino, linen, cool. The English have a much more like you can only have your trousers so high and you can't show your neck and this and that, the rest. So it is what it is.
Wait, Davey, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can we just repeat that once again? That people may very well see a Howard Kravets in a top hat and tails. Is that a possibility?
Of course it's a possibility. I mean, it's difficult. It's a difficult ticket. I mean, it's an expensive ticket, but
without getting into details, Davey, can you tell everyone the very strong possible places that we're going to be at Ascot, the accommodations that we're going to possibly have? You don't have to give up names of our contacts, but just in general.
I mean, there's a way. There's all systems. I mean, I'm new to it, but I found out subsequently that I know this person who knows this person who has a box here and this and that, the rest. So there's all sorts of ways of getting in there and being in the so-called royal enclosure. But whether that happens or not, I don't know. But the other point too is that, do you necessarily want it to happen? Because you can look at it and it may look great from a certain point,
Sure.
but then you look at it and you may say, well, that's a bit antiseptic to be in this confined position, and you may be better out in a sort of in the crowd of a lot of things. I mean, when I went racing in Germany this year to the most prestigious friends meeting, I bought the tickets, I put me in the best places and spent the money to get them there. And after an hour or two, I was like, I got to go to the back of the track where everyone else is, because this is where the action is, so you really have to figure it out that way,
Well, it looks like the Queen Anne enclosure looks like, I'll just go ahead and bring up that on the Queen Anne enclosure. Looks like a really fun spot to me, which is basically what you see on the screen, and sort of where if you guys can see where my arrow is, it's this open area. You do have access to the front side as well, Davey. But again, you get to socialize with a lot more people, and it's just sort of a fun atmosphere, but with people that are more refined as opposed to some other places at the track. But Davey, you have to get me to a bookie. I mean, everyone wants to see Howard battling out with a bookie, trying to get the right price on a horse he likes. I mean, that is an absolute must on Tuesday or Wednesday of Ascot, the first 2 days that we will be there for sure.
Right. It's they call it the bookie, the ring, the betting ring, and you'll see different prices, and and there can be quite wide variations. As everyone says, it's not like it used to be, but you will see a horse that you like, and you'll see it at 9-2, and you'll see it at 9-2 and 9-2, and the next guy right along will say 11-2. I mean, you'll be pulling out your you read 50-pound notes quicker than you can say, to get it
Oh
on,
man.
because and that's what that advantage is, but these things can change quickly, the prices will fluctuate, so you've got to lock it in when you see it, if you want it,
Yeah,
so
it's going to be amazing. And also, I want to be careful with my words here. There's a small possibility that Davey, I might have to say an extra day or two at Royal Ascot. You know why? I don't really want to say it right now, but
yeah.
there's a small possibility that a connection to a horse that I have a small piece of may be running at Ascot, which would be absolutely crazy. But we'll see. There's a long way for that to happen, but it's a possibility. Davey Lane, it's going to be an amazing trip, man. I just can't wait. By the way, the dates of the Ascot of the first 2 days would be
Yeah,
Tuesday,
the 18th
June 18th,
and
and
19th.
Wednesday, June 19th. Davey, real quick, the big races on the first 2 days at Royal Ascot will be.
Well, the Queen Anne will be the first race, the 1 mile race, and the other big race will be the Coventry Stakes, which is a big 2-year-old race, the 6 furlongs. Right. They can change the races sometimes. They have done in the past, and generally these are where they are. But they have brought new races into the mix, such as the Commonwealth Cup and so on. The races on the Wednesday would be the Albany Stakes and the Prince of Wales, a Group 1, the middle distance Group 1. So those are 2 big days, and I often find those first 2 days are the better days of racing myself. But again, a lot can depend on the weather. I mean, it's British summer, so you're really at the mercy of whether it could be raining or this and that, the rest. So we'll see.
Well, Davey, first of all, I want to thank you for all the work that you've done behind the scenes in getting this trip ready. I've done a lot of work as well, but you've done much more work since you are familiar with some of these places and these areas.
It's fun, Howard. It's a lot of work, because a lot of these things you have to pull it off. It's just like getting a racehorse ready. I mean, a lot of things are like pulling strings, and it seems serendipitous. We're everything's locking together, and hopefully it'll go all really well.
It's amazing, and I appreciate your hospitality, because we're going to be only staying in hotels like 3 nights of the 10 nights that I'm going to be there. So that really is fantastic as well. And going to Madrid and Paris and London and those 3 tracks is just unbelievable, Davey. So I really want to thank you for everything that you've done already. We've got a long way to go, and we will do our best, ladies and gentlemen. No guarantees, Davey, but we will do our best to get as much coverage as possible at these tracks for the HHH Racing Podcast. Perhaps some live coverage. We've got a long way to talk about that, but that's also a strong possibility if you can work it out. Davey, any final thoughts for the listeners and viewers of the HHH Racing Podcast? Again, look below the video player, or actually not look, below the video player. We need your comments, ladies and gentlemen, about the trip, any suggestions, ideas, anything at all. Look below, go below the video player and type in some information. Final thoughts, Davey Lane, on the HHH Racing Podcast Vacation Holiday Summer 2024.
Well, I see it as a learning experience, and I also hope people, when they look at it, or even have just seen the videos tonight, recognize that racing takes place in everywhere around the world, in lots of jurisdictions, and a lot of places are having trouble in the racing world, the closures and the lack of crowds and so on. But a lot of jurisdictions are doing things well, and there's lots to learn, and there's lots of ways of improving. And I think everyone gets in their ruts, and everyone gets the way they do things, and that's how it is, and so on. But things need to adapt, and maybe you'll go there and you'll see how they do the betting menus in one place or another place, how it's run, and I think the viewers can, and I think it helps just the general. If it's in the ether, it just helps with people understanding the game and realizing that the game is it's not just a London Ascot, Saratoga, Gulfstream. It is Madrid. There's lots going on in the racing world, and it's good to get out there and see it all. And
there's the email at the bottom of the screen, by the way, hkravitshorse@gmail.com. If you want to send me something more privately about these cities or the trip, you rather not put it below the video player. Davey Lane, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it. And the last thing I will say is, about a month from now, as we're filming on Monday, January 29th, we hope to have you on live coverage for the Saudi Cup Day at the end of February. And then hopefully, if it works out as well, live coverage we will have of the Dubai World Cup. And if your schedule allows for it, of course, you are invited on for your international expertise for both of those big racing days.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. Yeah, it's
no problem.
It's wow. It's changed, hasn't it? January is Miami, February is Riyadh, March is Dubai. I mean, this is how the calendar is adapted and changed, hasn't it? So, I mean, listen, in the 1950s, it was Havana and some other place. This is all change, isn't it? So,
yes,
great.
It's very exciting. Okay. Well, we will follow us here on the HH Racing Podcast for updates on the summer vacation / holiday 2024. For my good friend and compatriot Davey Lane, this has been your host Howard Kravets for this special edition of Horsin Around. Take care, everyone. We'll keep you updated. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Good night.
His Triple H Horse Racing Podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.